Hi, everyone. I'm joined again on this lovely Sunday by a special guest that you met last week. So, without further do's, I will bring Samuel, the SP chef, on the screen. Good evening.
Hello, darling.
How are you doing?
Very well. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Did you
Excellent.
receive any feedback from our stream last week?
Oh, yeah. I had lots of people saying, oh, wow, Sam is still alive and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I'm live and kicking, darling. So, yeah, it was lovely. Lovely being back on YouTube, so to speak.
Yeah. And you got the message that you are missed and you should come back, right?
Yes, I heard it loud and clear.
Yes. So, my special contact, an ex-Sea Org member who I call my grinder nowadays, has been providing me a lot of documentation. So maybe we can make this a regular occurrence.
Yeah, like a series or something. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Because we have a lot of material to go through.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the thumbnail I made for today.
It was I thought it was really cool. It was. Did you do it with AI?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very good. Very nice. Very sinister and.
Yes. Yeah. But I think it kind of, I don't know how you feel, but I think it kind of gave the right kind of mood for what kind of pressure you can be under when you are be joining a sea organization, especially as a child or underage.
Yeah.
So # no more kids in Scientology.
That's right.
Yes. I first wanted to share with everyone this flag order that probably many of you have seen before, but in case you haven't, here it is. It's a flag order from the Mr. L. Ron Hubbard himself. And do you recall also seeing this?
I'm pretty sure I've read it because as a cadet, I was not very ethical, shall we say. I keep on doing troubles. So I always had to be on ethics lines. So I'm pretty sure I've read this as a cadet. For anyone who doesn't know, the cadet organization is the organization for children within the Sea organization if you are legally underage to actually join the Sea Org. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a prep, almost like to prep the children so that when they go on the EPF, which is the boot camp for the Sea Org, then they can go through it a bit faster, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And flag order basically means a document that has been released, mandated directly by the man himself, L. Ron Hubbard. And it's to be order. I mean, it should be followed even closely as any law that has ever been written in any book. Correct?
And and more specifically, it is only to be seen by Sea Org members and also, of course, cadets.
Oops. Okay, yeah. I didn't know.
Mirjam,
know that.
How very dare you?
Take me to ethics. Okay, I'll just read it quickly through. So. This is specifically regarding ethics and handling of children when it comes to ethics handling. So a Dayton is simply a Dayton. Body size has nothing to do with it. The trouble with children is it is a generality. That's the way children are. A suppressive is a suppressive whether he is big or small. We don't have suppressives in the Sea Org, whether they are big or small. Big or small, upstats get upstat treatment and SPs get declared. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to open up the last sentence a little bit?
Yes. So being upstat is short for being up statistics. So in Scientology, everything you do, whether you are a simple parishioner, you are a so-called parishioner, just a Scientologist, a staff member who works in a smaller class 5 organization, or a Sea Org member, everything you do is measured by statistics. Statistics are very important. However, they don't use statistic in a normal way, like normal people would, by saying, okay, well, how well did we do, for example, now in January, how well did we do in January last year to see how well are the numbers? No, they go from week to week. So from 1 week to the next week. And that's how they measure whether you've been a good Scientologist, a good Sea Org member, a good staff member, is by determining whether your statistic is going up or down. And when the statistic goes up, it means you've done a good job. So then you are upstat. So you're considered to be a good person, a good staff member. And if you're downstat, it means you're bad. You've done something bad, because in the view of Hubbard, in the view of the Scientologists, if you don't manage to get your statistic up, it means that you have intentionally done something. There's some intention to not get it upstat, because there's no reason for you not to get it upstat. You have to always get it upstat. So there's always this fear of this constant pressure all the time throughout the whole week to get your statistic up no matter what. Because when it's upstat and you have done a mistake, then you're sort of protected, because then say, okay, maybe he's done a mistake, but he's upstat. So we're protecting him. So you get ethics protection. But if you're downstat and then you make a little mistake, that maybe usually people will look over it, they'll say, oh, he made a mistake because he's downstat, because there's some evil intent there, which made him go downstat and then made him do this thing. So there's always this incredible pressure to always be upstat. So that's basically what it says. Big or small upstats get upset treatment. So if you're upset, you get upset treatment. So you get treated like a sort of normal human being, a little bit below like a normal human being, but it's better than if you're downstat. And again, you've got this slight little protection if you do a little mistake or whatever. And then being an SP is a suppressive person. So somebody who is doing things to harm Scientology in the eyes of Scientology. So what we are doing right now harms Scientology, because we're talking about it. We're showing a document that is supposed to be only to be seen by SIG members. So that is already a suppressive act pretty much. And so, yeah, that's basically what it means.
Okay. And that basically means that even, any kind of what we would call in the normal world a childish behavior, that would be also problematic behavior. So
it can be problematic. It can be problematic behavior. It can be a distracting behavior. It can be unnecessary behavior, because as a SIG member, you're like a machine, and a machine doesn't do unnecessary things. A machine doesn't start singing or start picking flowers. A machine just does what it's supposed to do. And if you as a child don't do what you're supposed to do, you're being childish, and that is a distraction. Now, again, if you still manage to get your statistic up, it will be sort of looked over, or maybe they'll say, okay, but Samuel, next time, put yourself together, don't pick the flowers, because if you don't pick flowers, you can do even better. Your statistic could be even better, But if you go off and pick flowers or whatever it is, or mess around as a child, and your statistic is downstat on top of that, then you're going to get into trouble. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I think that is that's clear for everyone now. And the document we went through last week, that was called, I think it was called Staff Membership Personal Form. It was a long name for it.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. And today we are going through a similar type of document, but it's called something different. And I understood that both of these documents are something that are that are to be filled if you join either staff or the Sea Org. And I had to heavily censor this form, because actually it was filled for a minor. So
I see. It was already filled out. Got it.
Yeah. So in order to just protect the identity of the person, I have censored anything that contains name or personal health information or so forth. Just because we are not calling out the victims of Scientology here, we're just trying to expose the way that they are operating. I hope that makes sense to everyone. So we have a staff member personal data form. I'm not sure if you can recall this one.
There are many things that I don't recall anymore, but by going through it, I'm sure there'll be some things that sort of will trigger memory.
Yeah, and there's roughly about 100 questions, so it's quite a long form. So I think we can just go quickly skip the instructions for filling, but I think this is the similar type of way that you fill this, that you have a C organization or a staff member who is going through this questionnaire, and you're giving your answers.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to read it, they can just stop and just have a quick read through it. But I think in the beginning, it's pretty much the instructions, what you're supposed to do, not supposed to do, and do not show this document to the person you're doing an interview with. You have to ask the questions and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yes. So, but I think it's kind of important to just emphasize on the fact that this is filled out by a child in a law size, in any Western country. This is filled for a child, and it comes with a consent, basically a pre-filled consent form in the start, where it says that I freely consent to the processing by the church of data concerning my performance, activities, or behavior relevant to the management of the church, to the keeping of those data in files held by the church, and to transfer of those data or those files to any other church or mission in CLO EU or any other country, or to the mother church in the United States of America for those purposes. I'm just stopping here quickly to say that the CLO EU is referring to the Continental Liaison Office in Europe. So that's located in Denmark. And it continues, I have been informed of my rights under the applicable data protection law to have access to and obtain a copy of the data held on me by the church, specifically with regard to the below form, subject to the exceptions provided for that law, and to the payment of a fee to cover cost within the maximum prescribed by that law.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did not read that, because whenever you got a document that you're supposed to sign, you simply signed. You did not read it. And the reason why you didn't read it is because if you read it, it shows that you have suspicion. But why would you be suspicious of a SIG member, the most ethical, a person who's part of the most ethical group in the universe? If you're suspicious of such a person, that must be because you have overt. So you have committed sins that you are afraid will be uncovered.
Yeah.
So there's a missed withhold. So you're afraid that they might uncover some crimes that you have committed. So you do never sit there and actually read through. You just go through and then sign in the end. So, I mean, for example, when I left the SEA organization when I was 20 years old in 2012, there was a whole bunch of things I had to sign. And I only knew there were things about, like, I'm not allowed to talk about my experience. I'm not allowed to talk about how much money I made and things like that. But I didn't read any of it through. I just signed it. Because if you take time to actually read through it, it would be very suspicious, because then they'll ask, well, why do you have to read through it? Do you think we're trying to trick you? Things like that.
Yeah. And that's why I find this very problematic, because first of all, you are presenting a document to a person who does not even have a legal right to give up their rights.
Right, exactly.
To the church.
Yeah. And no, it doesn't say anywhere, that if the child is under a certain age, the guardian, the parent or something, it doesn't mention any of that. Yeah. Because that's not something as Scientology would consider, because for them, a child is just as responsible as an adult.
Yeah. So in this case, a child is giving basically given a consent form to sign without any additional signatures from their parents. So I would say this is illegal. Most of the Western world, I would say. And if this was more current document, I would be going to the police with it and show it. Unfortunately, it's a little bit older. The person is, of age now. I don't know their status in Scientology, but at today's date, if I would see a similar form, I would go to the police immediately and present it. Okay, let's continue. So I think it's from here, wasn't it? I have been informed.
Yes.
No, I went through the last, with the covering the cost. So,
covering the cost,
Yes. So the consent given in this form is freely given specific and informed indication of the signatory's wishes, authorizing the processing of his or her personal data by the Church of Scientology. So we can already scratch this for this person. I mean, an adult filling a form and maybe not reading all the contractual terminology might be a different case, but for a child, this is not applicable in the eyes of law. Such a consent is required under certain laws in many European and some non-European states referred as data protection laws. So they're making this sound very, formal and binding. The term data protection refers to a protection of the rights and interests of individuals with regard to the processing of personal data on them. The rights and interests concerned include, in particular, the right to privacy or private life and the right to respect for the individual's personality or human identity. Do you have a comment, or is the comment no comment?
No, the comment is it's almost laughable,
Yes. So you are putting this text in advance of you having to fill out a form with 100 questions regarding, your
very
details.
personal, very intimate details.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Privacy it doesn't exist in Scientology.
No. Yeah. Okay. The term processing, as used in those laws, is very wide and it includes all actions taken in respect of the individual's data, such as collection, recording, organization, storage, adaptation or alteration, retrieval, consultation, use, disclosure by transmission and dissemination, or otherwise making available, alignment or combination, blocking in erasure or destruction of data. The individual whose data are processed is referred to as the data subject. Do you know why people are called as data subjects?
Not sure. Maybe just to dehumanize the person.
Yeah.
You're just a piece of data. You're the subject of the data from whom we collect, this information.
Yeah, because I've seen this term before also. I don't think this is the only place where it's being used, but you're probably right. The laws in question grant such individuals certain rights, such as the right to seek access to their data, referred as data subject rights, and then it's referring to a law. Mm-hmm. So now we get to the.
I wanted to mention. Earlier, it because I was thinking about it. Earlier, it said something about that you have the right to ask for the data and even ask a right for copy of it, and then you just have to basically pay for the physical copy. So you have to pay for the paper and the ink or whatever.
Yes.
And that is something I sort of have to also smile at, because I'm pretty sure that when you leave, for example, the Syrian organization, you also have to sign things that say that it's not relevant for you anymore. That you can only do that whilst you are a staff member, whilst you are a SIG member, and then once you're out, you cannot demand these things anymore.
Yeah. And is it easily available while you are in? Is it
again? There would be a cloud of suspicion. Why would you have to have a copy of this? Why do you need a copy? What are you going to do with that? I mean, they're not going to just say, okay, sure, that's £3.50 for the paper and ink. You'll go into an investigation, find out, well, what is going on? Why do you have to have a copy? Who are you going to give this copy to? And so on and so forth. So, the very thought of questioning it, of being in any way sort of critical, I mean, that would never have occurred to me. I mean, I had complete blind trust as a child to any Scientologist, regardless of their status, of their relevance to my life. Complete trust. If a Scientology told me, go here and do that, fine, I just did it. There was no way that I would be in any way suspicious. So it would never have occurred to me to ask for a copy of it. I mean, what would I have done with it?
Yeah. Yeah. And Lara is here in the chat. Nice to see you.
Hi, Lara.
Yeah, she's writing details, exactly the time, place, form, and event in its full details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yes. All right. Let's move forward. So I have, of course, covered the name of the person who's filling this, especially because they were underage at the time. So it's not the internet's business. But basically, this is the way that you sign this form is, by typing in your name, or, someone typing the name for you, then you are authorizing the processing of your information. So you will now access the staff member life history form. And we have talked about the life history form, correct?
Yeah.
By doing so, you acknowledge acceptance of the conditions covered in the above consent. Yeah. So too bad you put your name already there. So now let's move ahead.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. This form asks a number of questions. Answer each question fully and accurately, and with as many specifics as you can. When you are done, follow the instructions at the very bottom of this form. The information you enter in this form is confidential and will not be given out to unauthorized persons. You want to give a comment to this?
Well, actually, I just thought about, if I would have, because unauthorized would normally mean anyone not in ethics, anyone not in the first department in the first division of an organization, which is ethics. They're responsible for ethics actions, for communication, for staff, and so on and so forth. So that's generally what it means. So I'm just thinking, is it like a sort of a, sort of them almost saying, well, even if you want to have the document, if you don't work in ethics, there's no way I'm going to get you would get a copy of it.
Yeah.
Because, that's usually what it means.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a different approach to this, and this might come as a shock to any current Scientology members or Sea organization members, but this information is not private. There are several people that are going through your PC folder. People are gossiping about it. Anyone who has access to it will use the benefit to read into other people's businesses.
Sure.
So,
because it's human nature. It's human nature.
Exactly. Because you were working in the kitchen, but there are a lot of people that are assigned to, for example, organizing or refiling people's PC folders, and you can be sure that they are being read, front and back. Yeah. So
I mean, there have to be. I mean, if you have to refile it, if something happens, a whole stack fall down, and then you have to sort of sort it out. You have to read what it says to be able to know. Okay, where does it go chronologically, and so on and so forth.
Yes. So the confidentiality. Now I can't say the word. So they are not confidential. Let's just say that. They are also not stored in a way they could be confidential. So it's a false sense of security you are having if you think your information is safe there, and no one outside the Office of Special Affairs and Ethics would be able to access it.
Yeah, you can completely forget about it if you dare to actually speak out, have an interview, talk to somebody, come out as the ex-Scientologist or whatever. Then there's no confidential. Now I can't say it either. Anyway, there's none of that nonsense.
Yeah,
anyway.
Exactly. Although I don't want to scare people, so you should definitely speak out, and there cannot be anything, anything to be ashamed of. Everyone has lived life behind them, so that should not be a reason not to be, be able to speak out.
At the same time, you just have to know that if you speak out, whatever you've ever talked about might be used against you.
Yes.
So I do not advise to everyone just go out and speak out, because I don't know what you have. In my case, I grew up in Scientology, so there's like nothing. I mean, the worst thing I did was greet Lady Palmer and the Five Sisters when I was a child, and that was pretty much it. So just be aware of that. But as you said, the past is the past, and most things, these people are just like okay, great. So when are we going to eat? They don't care about these sort of things. But in Scientology, they're very fixated about certain things, like, having smoked pot or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever is to be considered as a crime is, hardly a crime outside. It's just, regular life experiences. So,
sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's move forward then. So we have the instructions here. We'll just skip these ones. Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. So individual, this form is for, we have a name and address, and this person is from Germany. And just pay attention on the date of the form. This is also for OSA, so you can find your own copy,
24th of July, 2008. I think I just joined the EPF then.
Yeah. So this would be around the same time. What year were you born?
I was born 1 year later, 92.
Okay. Yeah. So you were 16. This person was 17 at the time. Yeah. It says, please provide your social security number below for US citizens only, or the equivalent, such as your national identification number or tax number. So this is not filled over here. Probably the person was not aware of their number or whatever, but it was not there. Yeah. And looking at the form, otherwise also there's some spelling errors. So I don't know, maybe there's been some gaps in education also a little bit, because there's a lot of typing errors in the form.
Right.
But here we are getting to the meat and potatoes. What is the background of this person? So we have a 17-year-old person who has a tech training level, Pro TR's course, Golden Age of Tech, admin training level, and Scientology drug rundown. Can you just shortly explain what these are?
Yeah, so you have the road to total freedom, darlings. And that is basically the whole goal of Scientology, where you have a chart. It's divided in two areas. One side is basically trains you to help other people to do auditing and so on and so forth. And on the other side is where you do the auditing, where you basically do it for yourself, to get yourself enlightened or whatever, right? So you got the two sides. So you got the pro TRs course. So TRs are training routines. These are routines that you do, very hypnotic drills that you do, where you, in the first part, there are two parts of it. The first part, you sit opposite each other, about 3 feet apart, and you do different drills to basically make sure you never react in any way. You're always there in the moment. You don't think about the past. You don't think about what you're going to eat for lunch or whatever. And you're not allowed to react. The other person will do whatever they can to get you sort of confused or whatever, and react. And you're not allowed to react. You basically learn to take on abuse, verbal abuse, and just not react at all. And then the second part, you learn to control people. You have to physically control people. So if somebody doesn't want to do something, you learn how to grab them and force them to do the thing that they're supposed to be doing. And because there are certain auditing procedures where that is important. And of course, as an auditor, so somebody who does these auditing procedures, you have to make sure they never leave an auditing session. They're not physically allowed to leave. And some people might want to run away. So you learn how to stop the person from running out, which is why if you've ever seen in an organization the small auditing rooms, they're very, very small, very narrow, so that if the person tries to run, that you only have the table, and then you've got a little bit of space for one person to maybe walk past, so that the auditor can jump right away into that little space and the person cannot run away. So you learn these sort of things. So this is these are the TRs. And then you've got different kinds of courses where you learn TRs. So different levels where at the end, for example, you have to be able to do each drill for a certain amount of time, for maybe, I think in the very first course, you just have to do it until the supervisor says, okay, that's fine. You guys did it good. That's a pass. And then the next level is you have to be able to do this drill for a whole hour without any mistakes, no mistake at all. and then it's fine. And then the next one, maybe in the Protease course, I've never done the Protease course, but it could be in the Protease course, it is for an hour or maybe even 2 hours for each drill you have to do without any mistake. And as soon as you made a mistake at 1 hour and 53 minutes, okay, flunk, and then you have to do it again, and it has to be 2 hours flawlessly. And that's the point of it, of that level of strictness for the TRs. So that's that part. And then you've got so that's that part on the side of the bridge where you learn to audit other people. And then you've got the other side, which is where you then have the Scientology drug rundown. Is it? Oh, actually, I'm not certain. The drug rundown, is it the same thing as the Purif, or is it a different one? I don't remember.
Yeah, I've seen this. It could be maybe another name for the.
It could be, but it could also be a different one. I'm not sure.
Okay.
If anybody in the chat can maybe help us out a little bit. I don't recall if it's the same thing or maybe it has changed the name over time. Again, this is a bit older document. Two different things.
Laura is saying it's two different things. So yeah.
So yeah, so that's a different one.
Okay, here. So
it's after purification.
Okay, so that clarifies it.
Okay,
Thank you,
great.
Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Yes. So this be a kind of normal courses or trainings to be done?
Sure,
at this
it's very low. It's quite low. It's quite low. The purification rundown, as Laura said, is just before that, and the purification rundown is the very first step that you do. So it's not a very, very high. The Protease, I'm not sure how high that is, because again, I didn't do Protease, but yeah.
Okay. Well, let's not dwell on it too much and just move forward.
Sure.
If someone has more information, I think they are even detailed more going forward. So, and then they, of course, want to know if you have a passport so they can take it from you in case you have one, correct?
Or of course, if they want to decide to send you off somewhere else to do training, or because a different organization, there's a mission needed and you need to be shipped off somewhere else, whether you want to go there or not, it's completely irrelevant. But they want to know, okay, you've got a passport already, so it's faster. It's a faster drill, basically.
Yeah. I was trying to be a little bit sarcastic here, but I think it didn't come across maybe. But Lara is saying that this is all done before the state of clear for sure.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Good. All right. Let me see. Okay. So then, they want to know which type of visa you have potentially, and the introduction to Scientology. So when did you come into Scientology? And this is saying 1999. So perhaps the parents have joined Scientology in 1999.
Yeah. He would have been then 8 years old.
Yeah. So how did you come into Scientology? Include who introduced you, where and when, and what that person is doing now. So I think this means parents. It's just a little.
Yes, probably. Yeah.
Yes. But you can see the answer to the next question. What were your reasons for becoming a Scientologist? And the answer is to put ethics in and clear the planet.
Clear the planet. Classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is this something that your mother would also tell you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's something I would have said. And if somebody would have asked, well, what does that mean, put ethics in? What exactly does it mean to clear the planet? I wouldn't know what I would have said. I would have just said, well, it just means to clear the planet. Okay, well, what does it mean exactly? It would be like a circular definition. So using the word to describe the word, a circular definition like that. I wouldn't have known exactly what I meant. I think at one point I was told it means that 51% of all humanity are at the state of clear.
So basically, but would it mean like you're saving the planet or something like?
It basically means save the planet. Yeah. And for me as a child, and also when I was an adult in the Sea organization, there was nothing specifically. I mean, I was obviously when I was a cadet And then later on, when I was a SIG member, I was working mainly in the kitchen. So I didn't see myself as a vital part of clearing the planet. I just saw myself as a drop of oil to help the machine by feeding it. So by feeding the staff member, the SIG members, they are really the ones who will clear the planet, and I'm just the drop of oil helping them with it. So I didn't have any specific, like, oh, because I'm doing this, now this happens. You know, this sort of step helps to clear the planet.
Yeah. Okay. And welcome everyone who's joining in. We are going through life history form at the moment, and this is something that a minor has been filling in. So we are being highly critical of the form itself, and the fact that it's even being given to a person who is minor, and making them to fill it out without a review of their parents. However, I think that probably wouldn't have made much of a change in the end result. But
probably not, no.
But still, I would say that having a minor to sign or approve a consent form is problematic. So just want to put it out there. So then we move to the next point: general staff data. Are you a class 5 or org staff member? No. Are you currently joining the Sea Org, or are you Sea Org member already? Yes. When did you join Sea Org? 2008. I just put the date away, so in case there's, anyone who might know this person, they will not be able to recognize them based on this. Why did you join the Sea Org? To put ethics in and help. So it's the same mantra back and
pretty much, yeah.
What benefit will you be to the Sea Org? I can do more. Do you know what this means?
I can do more. I don't know. I don't know what he meant precisely with that. I can do more. I don't know.
Be more of a use for the organization.
Maybe I can be more useful than now. Now I'm only a Scientologist, and now as I can do more. I can be more. I can do more to help. With this goal. Maybe that's what he was trying to say with that.
Yeah. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
What benefits will you gain from the Sea Org? No answer. Are there any cycles you would need to handle before being able to report for duty? No. What does that mean when you say, are there any cycles?
So basically, is there anything happening in your current life that would distract you from this organization that you need to sort of finish up? So let's say you, if you were to join as a child, there wouldn't be much really there. But as an adult, for example, you might have a whole bunch of furniture in storage. You might still have a house. You might have a loan somewhere or something like that. And you wouldn't have the time, nor would you have then the money, earning the money, the little pocket money that you have, to be able to pay off the bill. So it's asking about this specifically. Like, is there anything that would that you need to finish off before you go over here?
Yeah. Okay. List beginning with your earliest schooling. Every school you have attended includes schools, colleges, universities, etc. So this person has attended from 1st class to 7th class, like ground school, and then in Denmark from 2004 to 2008. Repeated 4th to 7th class, and then finished 9th class.
Okay.
So probably moved countries in between.
Yeah, probably.
But this is, of course, the full education you can have when you are that age. So it's not there's nothing else to give. Then there's
you wouldn't have been in a university and so on.
No. Maybe just to point out that we are in Denmark. This person has been in Denmark but does not speak Danish.
Yeah.
So list your interests and hobbies. Swim. Have you ever held a job excluding being a staff in Scientology org? No. Have you had any periods of unemployment? No. If this was filled by someone who was joining Scientology in a mature age, these would be kind of extensive questions to be answering as well.
Of course, yeah.
In this case, when you are recruiting a child, there's not much past life that you can elaborate on.
Yeah.
Have you ever held a post in any Scientology organization? This would include Sea organization, any church, mission, or secular entity. Do you have any debt with bank, credit card company, or other type of organization? Have you had an interview or treatment of any kind from a social worker, counselor, psychologist, or a psychiatrist? So this is again to establish if you have some connection or you've been, how do you call, affected or you've been somehow.
Yeah, it's all because a social worker, counselor, even they have to have some sort of understanding of mental health and trying to help the person like that as well as obviously a psychologist and psychiatrist. So anything like that, because Scientology and Dianetics has to do with the mind, helping the mind and so on and so forth, apparently. Although I've never seen any evidence of that. But because it is going in the same direction, if you've done something like that, it can be a little bit problematic.
Yeah. So anyone who could maybe help you if you have any kind of issues, it would be very bad that you have had contact with people such as that. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay, no, I went a little bit too far. So lucky 13. Have you ever been institutionalized in any type of rest home, psychological, psychiatric, or mental institution? This was also in the other questionnaire, so they really want to double check on this one as well. Have you ever undergone any electric, insulin, or other shock treatment or a psychiatric brain operation? Right. Do you have any training as a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or did you major in psychologist at, for example, a college or university? Have you ever been denied processing by HCO, the Office of Special Affairs, or the Office of Senior CS Int? You want to open up these ones, do a little bit word clarification here?
Sure.
Word clearing.
So to be denied processing basically means that they've said, okay, you cannot do this particular Scientology auditing, or maybe they say, okay, on the bridge of total freedom, as we talked about, maybe they said, okay, you can only do up to here, and from this point onwards, you cannot anymore, for example, because there was something in your past that happened that basically means you cannot do it anymore. So that's what that means. And then you obviously have HCO, Harvard Communications Office, which is the first division of any organization, org board, which is where the organization is laid out and where all the staff members work and so on and so forth. And HCO is ethics, it is for personnel, it is in charge of communication and so on and so forth. Then the Office of Special Affairs, OSA, we are all very familiar with that, I'm sure. And they are basically in charge. They're at the FBI, so to speak, of Scientology. They gather all information, all data, and so on and so forth. What else do we have? Senior CS Int. Okay, so the CS is the case supervisor. He's the person who looks at your PC folder, and the PC folder is the folder where all your progress that you've done in Scientology, as in all your courses, all your auditing, is all documented in there. And the CS, he basically looks at it to see what have you done in the past, what went well, what didn't go so well, and he basically decide, okay, you should be doing this as the next step. Or maybe they'll say, although you've done this step already, it looks like you haven't really quite gotten it, so you have to do this again. Maybe this course you have to do again. So that's the CS. So the senior CS Int. So senior CS is the most senior one of a normal CS in a normal organization. And senior CS Int, he is, as I understand, he's basically the highest authority of anybody to tell you on your folder, where whether you can do that or not do that, and so on and so forth. So there's nobody above him to change or deny. So if he says you cannot do it, that's it. There's nobody above him who could say, well, actually no, that's wrong or whatever.
Okay. And if you get into, for example, ethics trouble, then this person would also determine your path
possibly.
steps. Or,
well, I think it depends what the ethics trouble is. It might be that the senior CS or the CSC will be informed, so that he can say, okay, you have to do this course maybe, and so on and so forth. So there's some connection there as well. But usually when you have done something out ethics and things like that, it's usually handled just by HCO. That's their department, really.
Okay. Thank you. Have you ever worked or been involved with the intelligence agencies or any kind whatsoever? Have you ever worked in, been a member or involved with a communist group of any kind? Yes. So the communists, they keep on being a huge risk to the world peace and our life even today.
Yes, quite.
Yes. Have you ever worked in, been connected with, or involved with the following groups or organizations? Organized medicine, banking industry, psychiatry, psychiatrists, psychologists, the media, government, public relations firms, military organizations.
We had this one as well in the last one.
Yeah, we did. We did. And just the thought I had when I was looking at the banking industry is that I'm not sure if you saw my video regarding the big acquisition in Denmark. Yes. And it was actually showing that they have not fully bought the property with cash, but they have also overtaken some loans from the seller. So they are in a relationship with a local bank in Denmark. Yeah. So sometimes I'm thinking it would be beneficial, not giving them any tips, to be connected in these different industries as well.
Well, I mean, it's always, these sort of things, this industry, it's sort of like, if it suits them, then they're very happy with the connection with it. Scientology is known to pay out certain organizations like these listed in different ways, by giving them a check of whatever it is for maybe a charity that they organize and so on and so forth, to basically be on their good gracious with them, so that if any trouble were to happen, they'll be like, well, us, we helped you with your charity, and we're always here if you need anything, so on and so forth. And it's all about PR. PR is very important in Scientology. In Scientology, PR is more important than actually doing something to help someone. It's more important that it looks like you're doing something rather than actually doing something to help someone.
Yeah. And actually, I saw MD Media Matt was in the chat before, and he had documented the volunteer, or we call them vulture ministers, actually. They were having a photo op in California where they were pretending to be cleaning up the street from, the debris after the fire.
Right.
However, they just had a little photo shoot and left afterwards. But for sure, you will be seeing these in their glossy leaflets. These photos.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's the PR that's the main driver for this. So, have you ever had any special military clearance of any kind? Is this related that then your information would be, for example, in some kind of database or?
Probably, yeah. So if you have military clearance, it means you are allowed to go to certain areas where a normal person wouldn't be able to go. Yeah. You can even get military clearance not being part of the military. Maybe you're an expert in a certain area, and so they obviously, military will also hire people not to be in the military, but as external experts, for example, for a certain field or whatever. So
yeah. Have you ever worked in a high security section of the government or armed forces? Have you ever been employed by a health clinic or institution? Have you been employed by the government? Are there any other groups or organizations that you have ever been associated with that are not listed above?
Right. So any any groups.
Yeah.
Your local samba group, write it down, darling.
Yeah,
Your
I was
local,
thinking like some kind of sticker collection club, or if you're collecting...
your local crocheting club, write it down, darling.
Yes.
Anything. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very
Come
broad.
out with your sins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because as well, I think, although it doesn't say that, and now that I've thought about it, just for a moment, I think they're trying to find out any connection that you have outside.
Yeah.
So if you are because they know that if you are a SUG member or a staff member, you will not have any time for hobbies.
Yeah.
And then if you suddenly don't show up anymore on your Tuesday evening knitting class or whatever, knitting club or whatever, they will ask questions. They will phone. They'll say, "Where are you? What's going on?" and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I think they want to establish that there's no connection between you and the outside world. In other words, if you were to die, nobody will care. Nobody will phone. Nobody will ask, "How are you doing? Where are you?" It's very sinister, but that is what I get out of that. They want to make sure there's no connection between you and the outside world.
Yeah, I think that's most likely correct. It's called the life history form. They want to know every single little detail about you.
Yeah.
And that's to eliminate any kind of external influence or threat to, their sinister plans. Yeah. Do you have connections or vested interests which will or might result in a personal profit to you as a staff member?
Sorry, which number are we at? I sort of lost the plot.
25.
25, thank you. Right, okay, so anything that might profit you. So again, if obviously as a child, that wouldn't be very relevant, but maybe as an adult, you are, maybe you own some property where there's a house was built and you're renting it out, for example. That could be an example of that.
Yeah. And then they would probably want to know, what it is, how much, how often,
what it is, how much, what obligations do you have with that, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
26. Are you in Scientology to obtain news stories or generally disrupt the organization? So they're looking for a mole in this case.
Yeah.
Are you in litigation with a government tax agency or any government agency? Are you indebted to a government tax agency? So this is regarding the debts or any kind of other commitments you might have outside.
Yeah, and specifically also with government. So obviously they would have more power and it would look much worse, very bad for Scientology if they have volunteered somebody, volunteered somebody and has, debts with the government or something like that, It's different to have debt with the government than, owing 1,000 quid to your grandmother that you lend or something like that,
Yeah. Yes. Are you in the country illegally? Are you a minor? Yes. Do you have consent form from your parents or guardian to be on staff? Yes. Give full details. I have the okay of my father and my father to be, I guess it would mean mother and father. Yeah, it's just a typing error. So I have the okay from my father and my mother to be here. They both signed. I mean, this is, I'm not having prejudice. I know the name, so it's actually not a situation with the two fathers, for example, which would probably not be allowed anyways.
Yeah.
But they both signed. So here are the parents, responsible, loving parents, signing over their child to the SEA organization. Yeah, black on white here. So it's not something we are just saying for the fun of it. If you are not attending school, are you breaking the law? No. Okay. So this would indicate that they would potentially have some kind of concerns if you haven't attended, the minimum requirement that you are to
Well,
be
not
having.
necessarily, because they're asking in present time right now, if you were
Mhm.
not to go to school right now, would you break the
Yeah,
law? And because I think he was 17 at this point,
yeah,
and you only have to go to school until you're 16,
yeah,
it
15 or
wouldn't break
16.
he wouldn't basically break the law. But if, for example, for some reason he only went to school until he was 13 years old and
Yeah.
didn't go anymore, but
Mm,
now he's wanting to join the SEOC, that wouldn't
mm.
be relevant in that sense.
No, but I'm thinking like more like if you were a 12-year-old trying to join.
Sure.
Mm,
Then yeah.
yeah. So this would be, a matter of interest in the countries where you are actually required to go to school until you're 15, 16
Yeah. Mhm.
and finish your ninth grade. That's I'm aware it is over here, and I think all the Nordic countries, and probably also where in Switzerland as
In
well.
Switzerland. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had a fitness board turned down? Uh, and you want to explain? I'm familiar with the fitness
So the
board, but
fitness
yeah.
board is basically to find out if you're fit enough to join or to remain as a staff member, SIG member. So this happens, for example, very frequently with older people who are old and they cannot work anymore because they have ailments. They hadn't gone to the doctor for decades or whatever, and they're physically not able anymore. A fitness board will be done to find out if they're actually fit enough to still be staff member or SIG member. And if the fitness board decides, so it's a board of people. I'm not sure who is on it exactly. Probably somebody, a senior of that person, as well as somebody obviously from the ethics department and so on. They will decide, if they decide, no, you are not fit enough to actually serve us, you just be thrown out. Unceremoniously, you'll be thrown out, and then you just have to look for yourself. Now, this is oftentimes happens with people who are very old, people who've had accidents, severe accidents, where maybe they cannot walk properly anymore, or they have some other problem, and so then they'll just be kicked out. But the same thing happens, I believe, when you want to join the organization or want to join staff member. There's a fitness board to see, are you fit enough to be a staff member, SIG member? But then again, this also gets done once you are a staff member and SIG member. Yeah.
So
Because you're only as valuable as you're useful.
Yeah.
That's what Harbert said. You're only as valuable as you're useful. If you're not useful, you're useless. We can't do anything with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something similar is also when you join the military, your actual, physician, a doctor is examining you to find out if you're fit to join the military.
Same in Switzerland. It's a 2-day process where they do the whole, please look right and cough, all of that lot. But also you have to do different sports, different exercises to see whether you actually are able to join the military. And then if you can't, then you have to do a civil service, for example, in Switzerland.
Yeah. So most likely L. Ron Hubbard has taken this from the military since he had.
Makes total sense.
Yeah. Have you ever moonlighted? So I mean, this is a terminology in the real world as well, where you're doing moonlighting jobs. So I'm sure everyone is familiar with that.
Sure.
Have you ever sued a Scientology organization or Scientology principles? This would be a high crime, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So you would probably not be welcome in the Sea Org if you had ever sued anyone. Have you ever threatened to sue or embarrass or attack Scientology or Scientologists, or ever been a party to an attack or threat? If yes, give full details. Have you ever been declared an illegal PC? Can you give information on the illegal PC, what it means?
So, okay, sure. So PC is a pre-clear, and that's a general term for anyone who does Scientology processing, as well as courses and things like that. So that's a PC. And that's where the PC folder comes from as well, from the name. And an illegal PC basically means you have done something in the past, in this life, that makes you not qualified to basically be a PC. Now, there are different things. One of the things is, for example, if you've done LSD, the drug. And there are a few other things as well. I think if you've done like shock therapy, if you had your brain picked with an ice pick and things like that, that would make you an illegal PC, because the term, it basically means because there was an external influence done on you, so either through drugs, shock treatment, you are not sort of like in a default setting. And because you're not in a default setting, Scientology will not work on you. That is the reason why it will not work. And if you are on this default setting, then Scientology will always work 100% of the time if you use it 100% correctly, naturally. And so that is what means to be an illegal PC. And it, as far as I know, and if Laura is still there or somebody who knows about this, it does not extend into past lives, because basically when you pass away and you obtain a new body, you get the default setting, basically, as I understand that, to, you know, just putting in very simple terms.
Yeah. And I understood also that you could also be an illegal PC if you had, for example, some kind of interaction with police, that you had committed a crime and you were potentially...
Possibly. I don't remember the details. I only remember these like really extreme things, you know, like have your brain picked with an ice pick and things like that, shock treatment. But it could also be something just having a very specific or very bad run-in with the law or something. Could also be. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. We still have, I think, at least 2/3 of the questionnaire ahead of us.
Sure.
Have you ever friended or demanded a refund or repayment from any Church of Scientology organization? There's no refund, so it's a silly question for them to make, right?
Well, I mean, you can ask for a refund in theory, but if you do get a refund, you're basically excluded to be part of Scientology any longer.
Yeah. Have you ever received a refund or repayment from church organization? Have you ever been involved in any form of mutiny in a Scientology organization? Have you ever
Which
been...
is, by the way, a high crime. Mutiny is high crime.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The list is long, isn't it? Of high crimes. Have you ever been wanted by the police? Have you ever been arrested? Do you have a criminal record? Have you ever been involved in theft or embezzlement activities? Have you committed any criminal acts in this lifetime for which you could be blackmailed? So now they're being specific that it's in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Have you ever blown staff in any Scientology or Sea Org organization? Are you currently blown from any Scientology or Sea Org organization? This is an interesting question, because why would you be there filling the details on this form if you have blown from another organization? Let's see. Have you ever friended to blow from any Scientology or Sea Org organization? Have you ever blown an auditing session, action, or program? Have you ever blown from a Scientology organization as staff or public for any reason, if not already described above? Have you ever had doubts about being in Scientology and or the Sea Org?
If every Scientology were honest, they would say yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Are you or have you ever been a newspaper reporter or a journalist of any kind? Are you an active drug pusher? I think it would be a good, business if you were the only, pusher in the Sea organization or the Scientology community.
Oh
yeah. You would have all the customers to yourself.
Absolutely.
A monopoly. Have you ever dealt in selling illegal drugs or dealt in any activity connected to illegal drug sales or distribution? Have you ever attempted suicide? If so, please give full details. That's a very triggering question, I feel like, if you have been in this situation and then you are to be able to, just give the full details to your counterpart when filling this this form. Is a attempt of suicide also a high crime, or is that how
it's
is
not
that
it's not
categorized?
a high crime, but as a little story, the youngest son of Aaron Hubbard, Quentin Hubbard, he died in a very mysterious circumstance, and there are quite a number of people who lived at the same time and knew Quentin, and they said he actually, took his own life. And I believe after that happened, Hubbard wrote, explained about this sort of thing, like why would somebody take their own life? And he says the only reason why somebody does that is to prove somebody else wrong. So look what you've done to me, and then you take your own life. That's the only reason. It's not because somebody's sad, something happened, or anything like that. That's the only reason, is to prove somebody else wrong. Which is why when somebody, so there's no sympathy whatsoever if somebody has these sort of thoughts, because it basically means, oh, you're just trying to make somebody else wrong. Who are you trying to make wrong? That is the question that is asked when you have tried to do that. And that is also what happened to me. I mean, I did try to do this a few times. And that is the question is asked. It's not about, oh my goodness, what happened? What's going on? Are you okay? So much stress or anything? No, it's no sympathy at all. It's all about, oh, well, clearly you're doing it because you're trying to make somebody else wrong. You're trying to make a PR flap, because obviously the newspaper are going to write about it. So you're just trying to prove a point. It's the only reason why. Because of course, in Scientology, you just get reborn again. That's the belief in Scientology. So if somebody passes away, it's not really a big deal. It's like somebody moving into on the other side of the world and living somewhere in the woods. And so you're probably never going to see them again. You might be a little upset because you will never see them again. But they'll just be in a different form back again. So there's no big deal about that. So I think the reason why they want to know about this is because of the PR aspect. If you were to do this while you are a staff member or a SIRG member, the newspapers and whoever gets get to know about this, they will naturally make the immediate connection to that. And that is something they want to avoid at all costs. So while you are, for example, when you are in the SIRG or a staff member and you feel that way and you communicate that, they will try to do a little handling. If they realize, okay, he's actually serious about this, then you immediately, it's a fitness boat and you're out. You're just out. And so that's why it's very important for them to know about this before you join. They know that there is no risk about that. Yeah.
So there's no high regard for human life there.
Oh no, not at all. No. Again, you're only as valuable as you're useful. That is directly from Hubbard. There's no, and interesting enough, I didn't comment on it, but further up it said something about like what you want to do, or like something of that kind, and it just says to help others or something like that. There's no you have to, you're not allowed to have any personal selfish ambitions, such as I want to become a dancer, I want to become a painter, I want to become a great chef, I want to anything like that. Whatever you want to become is only relevant if it helps Scientology.
So in this case, since the person was only doing swimming, it's a good thing that they don't have any more intensive hobbies or activities in their private life. Have you ever friend committing suicide? And then there's this question. I actually have a comment on this one, because it said, have you ever had thoughts of committing suicide? And I would assume that whoever is filling this form, perhaps they are being truthful, but probably 100% is saying no when they are answering this form.
Oh yeah, in most cases they will even if they did had some thoughts, most likely they will say no anyway, just because they know of all the trouble they could get into. Generally speaking.
Because I'm not sure if you are aware, but a channel called Scientology Crimes put out a questionnaire for ex-Scientologists for a number of different questions, and regarding the kind of victims of which type of crimes they have been victim of while being in Scientology. And there was the same question there. I think it was formed a little bit differently, but I think it was something like, have you ever contemplated with suicide?
Yeah.
100 ex-Scientologists answered the question, and 90% of the people answering the questionnaire said that they have had suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. Because again, when you are a Scientologist, I think, obviously I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but I think generally speaking, when you're a Scientologist, you're much likely to jump to that solution rather than anything else, because you know that you just be reborn again. Sure, you'll be reborn with a bit more baggage, because obviously, dying in that way isn't very good. But you just know you'll be reborn again. So it is a way of escaping a very difficult, impossible situation.
Yeah.
And I think generally speaking, that thought comes much more easier to somebody who's a Scientologist, or somebody who believes in just being reborn again, regardless of Scientology or some other religion or belief or whatever.
And also thinking, when you are joining, probably majority of the people joining Sea organization are full of hope. They are going to clear the planet. They are going to make a huge change.
Yeah.
And then, when you come up in the other end of that, dishwasher, you've been smacked with all kind of things through your journey within the Sea organization, you are so done that you will probably answer differently in a lot of these questions at that time.
Yeah.
So, okay, then we go to the medical history. List any illness, accidents, injury, surgery, or physical situation you have ever had. Include all childhood illnesses, for example, mumps, measles, chickenpox, etc. State also the approximate pains during your life with the time periods. List also any corrective surgery you have had and where done. Of course, I'm just have been censoring this one because it's not really relevant.
Sure.
But in this case, there's only 2 listed. But it could include whatever you have had done.
Yeah, any injuries. Just imagine that, any injuries, right?
Yeah.
And some, depending how literal you'll take it, maybe you literally write anything you've had, or maybe you'll say anything that's above a broken bone. If you break a bone and anything more than that, you'll write down. But if it's just, a severe fall or anything like that, then you might not write that down. I don't know.
Yeah. Are you currently suffering from any form of chronic illness or physical condition? Are you suffering from any form of terminal illness? Do you currently take drugs or medicine? Have you ever taken drugs since being in Scientology? Then we go to specific. I don't know if L. Ron Hubbard didn't know any names of other drugs, or are these the worst ones? Have you ever taken LSD or angel dust? I don't even know what angel dust is.
It could be cocaine, but I'm not sure. Not sure.
Yeah, but you still have to answer this questionnaire, even if you don't know what it is, right?
Well, I mean, if you don't know, you would have to do word clearing.
Okay.
What it means, yeah.
Imagine, asking someone to word clear angel dust and then be like, oh, I think I would actually like to try that one. It sounds interesting. If someone will have to, explain exactly how it works. I'm not familiar with. Okay. Angel dust is PCP. Tiltybird, our house drug expert, is coming with the information to us.
Do you know what this is, PCP?
PCP. Can you give us more information? What is PCP? I don't know either what PCP is.
I'm very vanilla in that sense, darling. So I don't really know. Yeah.
Me too. Let us know. We're totally noobs. I guess we should dwell on, try and look into this topic a little bit more.
Yeah.
Or maybe
get some mass as well, get some mass, touch it, smell it, sniff it, just trying to figure out what is it exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Taste it and,
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're talking about here. Okay, I think people are either they're laughing at us or laughing with us.
I'm sure they're laughing with us, darling.
Yeah, let's hope so. Well,
all right.
If anyone knows what PCP is or where does that that comes from, then let us know.
Okay.
Have you ever taken drugs beside those mentioned above? Have you ever been addicted to drugs or been an alcoholic? Have you been addicted to drugs or, have you had a full drug rundown and attested to complete sweat out program? Okay, so sweat out program would be the purification, I guess.
Quite, yeah. Where the
Okay.
idea is that you sweat out all the drugs that you've taken, basically.
Yeah. Okay,
including radiation.
Now we have the data here from IRISmart, who apparently is also more educated on this topic compared to us. PCP is dissociative mind-altering street drug.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Lara is saying, I still can't believe that this was Sea Org normal for children and staff to fill out or to get interrogated on. This alone is already setting up the whole grooming and indoctrination. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Silty Bird is saying, I believe that they discourage angel dust PCP because it's another mind-altering drug that can... okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a mind-altering drugs. And again, Scientology is all about the mind and all of that stuff. So it makes sense.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for educating us. We learned something new today as well. Okay. So this was now about the drug rundown and the purification program. So they have done it in 2006. So at the age of 15.
15.
15. Yeah, 15. Yes. Let's go further. Okay. Have you ever been involved with any type of practice other than Scientology, including any religion, meditation, yoga, very dangerous, you can stretch your back with that, spiritualism, black art, etc.? Have you ever had willing or unwilling connection to a squirrel group? Definition of a squirrel from a tech dictionary: those who engage in actions altering Scientology and offbeat practices. Have you ever had a willing or unwilling connection to a suppressive group? Let me see. Did I go away? Yeah. Okay. Here. Have you ever been expelled from the church? Have you ever been offloaded from the Sea organization? Have you ever been dismissed from staff or Scientology org, mission, group, etc.? Have you ever been declared a suppressive person by the Church of Scientology? Have you ever not been in a good standing with the Church of Scientology for any reason not stated above? So what would be something that you would not be in good standing because of?
Well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that lists above.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it could be because you didn't come and do, for example, every time there was an event, you always made excuses not to go on to event. Or if you do attend on the event, you've never actually donated any money, only donated very little money. Things like that, possibly.
Yeah. But this is something that you can kind of redeem yourself from. So it's not...
Sure. It's not as severe. Yeah.
Do you have any children? Supply the following information regarding your mother. Then we need to have all the information on your parents. So this would be also for adults. This is not just because this person is...
and regardless of if the parents are then in this organization or not, or staff, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's see here. Is she a Scientologist? Yes. What is your attitude towards your mother? Good. How does she regard you? Good. So I guess this is the ideal situation, because then there's if your parent was not a Scientologist and you had a very good relationship, then the situation would be different, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because obviously then as your mother and as your son or daughter, you would want to see your mother because you have a good relationship. And of course, as a staff member, SIG member, you don't have the time to do that. So that can be a little trouble later on in life, you know.
Yes. Then we have the
again,
father.
They want you to have as little connection to the outside world as possible. Ideally, again, as I said, if you were to die, nobody would care outside. That is the ideal situation, basically.
Yeah. Yes. Then we have the same information on the father, who's a staff member.
Sure.
Yes. And the same questions, what is your attitude towards your father, and how does he regard you? Do you have any step parents or foster parents? Do you have any brothers or sisters?
And then the same thing again. Yeah.
Do you have any other relatives, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, nieces? I'm doing my own little, thinking in here, because we know, a little bit of this person's history. So we know they joined Scientology. Was it in 1999?
99 or 98, yeah.
Yeah. And everyone has a grandparent.
Yeah.
And this person is underage. So with a high likelihood, this person would still have a living grandparent existing. So
sure, a grandparent, a grand uncle, grand aunt, brother, sister of the grandparents, uncles, cousins, and things like that. Sure. But it could be the person said no because the person never even met them.
Yeah.
So to them, maybe he knows they probably exist, but because he doesn't actually have any connection to them, he's never even met them. He just says, for simplicity's sake, no, because there's no point in even mentioning them, possibly. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking, that, since the time of joining was the time when, this person was, less than 10 years old, maybe the parents have been totally wooed by Scientology, and they have, disconnected from their whole entire rest of the family.
I mean, I grew up not knowing that I have uncles.
Yeah.
So my mother pretended she didn't have. No, actually, when I was very young, she pretended she had one brother, and then later on, she pretended she had no brothers. But as a matter of fact, she had two brothers.
Yeah.
And I got to meet one of my uncles a couple of years ago. The other uncle, he lives in South America, so I haven't met him yet. But and so obviously I have cousins and things like that. But it could be that sort of situation that the mother, the father never spoke of their parents, of their siblings, and so therefore,
Yeah. And it's something that really touches me as well, because I'm very close to my family. I have a 94-year-old grandmother who's been a
wonderful.
huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And hopefully will be still for next 100 years, or, however long we can last. But I mean, these kind of familial connections are really important. And although it's not illegal, it's very wrong to deprive these relationships from children.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, then we go to point 79. We only have maybe 20-ish left. So let's move forward. List your friends even prior to Scientology, and what sort of relations you had, and what sort of jobs they held and are holding now. Also, please state what your communication has consisted since being in Scientology. So for someone with a long life history, this would be also a long list.
Yeah, but I remember this very specifically because I only had one name when I joined. I only had one friend, really, outside of What is it asking outside of Scientology?
No, ever had.
Ever. Yeah, probably. Okay, no. Well, I had only one friend which was outside of Scientology, and then I had a couple of two friends in Scientology when I was in the Basel organization.
Yeah.
It's usually a very short list.
Yes.
For children, obviously,
Yeah, also in this case, but still in the so-called real world, children are supposed to have a lot of friends,
Oh yeah.
Nowadays,
lots of very casual friends as a child,
Yeah, exactly.
They don't really give a damn, basically. They're like, oh, you like tractors too. Okay, let's be friends. It's as simple as that, when you're a child.
Yeah, exactly. And, you go to a regular school with classroom, most of those children you would consider to be your friend. This person only has 2 friends listed here. And I guess this is just to make it as easy as possible to say that, her and him are Scientologists, so you don't need to give more elaborate answers on it.
Yeah. And also,
Because,
again, just to make sure to know if there are any connection outside, as well as with your families. And Bianca, actually, she wrote a Scientology rundown. They want to know who you would go to if you blow. And that is very accurate. So if you blow, meaning that you just disappear, unauthorized disappearance, they have a list of people they can contact immediately where they think, okay, this is maybe where he or she went to. So this is very absolutely relevant as well. Yeah.
There's so many aspects and so many different ways to look at this. The first thought I was thinking was that this is really sad that a young kid cannot list more than 2 names to call them as friends, because personal relationships with other people is, it's so important. Even just for your own social development, how to actually know how to communicate with people.
How to communicate. And the more people that you know, the more different ideas and opinions you hear. And then suddenly you hear an opinion that you maybe disagree with, and then you start talking to the person, and then you're like, oh, I never thought about that, But if you're always in your own echo chamber, which is always what happens when you are in any sort of cult, like Scientology, for example, you always only hear the same ideas, the same thoughts, and you never have an outside idea or thought that might be different, and it might make you prick up and say, oh, hang on a minute, and what's this, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Do you have you had any direct or indirect connection or family ties to persons who are ex-Sea Org members? So I guess this is because if you are ex-Sea Org member, you will really need to work hard to be in good standing afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you're considered a degraded being if you're Sea Org member, because as a Sea Org member, you sign a contract to work for 1 billion with a B years. So for this life and for every other life. And the purpose of this Sea Org is to put in ethics in the world and basically clear also the planet in the process of that. And if you decide to abandon that, I mean, this is the most ethical group in the world. It has the most purest purpose in the world. If you decide to abandon that, to abandon the contract, abandon the group, you're considered scum, and you are considered less worthy. Like if you were 30 years in a Sea organization and you worked your back off and so on and so forth, and then you leave because you just can't do it anymore, whatever happens, you are less worth than a Scientologist who's been a Scientologist for only 10 years but never joined staff or Sea Org member, because they did not commit the betrayal.
Well, one thing I had in mind was just that there has to be some kind of way you can redeem yourself, because I can recall that Natalie Webster was a Sea organization member. However, she went all the way up to OT5 level, I think.
Of course, you definitely can redeem yourself, but people will always see you as a little bit less because you abandoned this most purest of courses, and obviously if you manage, like Natalie, to go OT, that obviously helps. That changes the situation a bit. But generally speaking, you'll have a bit of a harder time. People will treat you a little bit less kind than they would if you would not have been in the Sea before or staff member.
Okay. Do you have or have you had any direct or indirect connection or family ties to persons who are freeloaders with the church? So that would be someone who's gotten a freeloader bill.
That's right. Freeloader bill is when you were staff or Sea Org member and you end the contract, and then you basically have to pay off for all the courses that you've done. Because usually when you staff, not usually, when you staff and you're a Sea Org member, you can do the courses and things like that for free. Usually you don't have the time to do it, but if you can, they're for free. That's almost like a little exchange. Like, okay, you work 16, 18 hours a day, but you can do this course for free or whatever. But when you leave, you have to pay it all back.
Do you have or have you had any direct or indirect connection or family ties to persons who are ex-guardians office staff? So that's the ex Office of Special Affairs. So
Yeah, the Guardian Office. It used
yeah,
to be Guardian Office in the 70s. It was busted, and then it was renamed to the
yeah,
Office of Special Affairs. Yeah.
yeah. It's strange that they are still using this name here, but yeah. Then this question, I think you need to clarify. Are you being audited on your own determinism?
So basically, are you being audited because you want to do it?
Yeah, okay.
And not because
okay.
your mother is telling you or your father is telling you, in this case, for
okay.
example, because
Okay.
he's
Okay.
only 16, 17 years
Okay.
old.
Of your own
So,
will.
yeah, of your own will, basically. That's what it means. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel an auditor or Scientology book is responsible for any unwanted condition you are in?
Big
So,
yes.
have you gotten gains which you have expected from the Scientology training and processing you have received? Yes. Do you have an open mind with no personal hopes or desires for auditing or knowingness? So open mind is a negative thing.
It's a very negative thing in Scientology. Yeah. And this is something that Hubbard has done a few times in the past. He will take something that's actually very positive in a normal world, and he will pervert the definition. And I think that the main reason for that, rather than inventing a new word for it, because he was not like short of ideas for new words. He invented lots of new words. But the reason why he would take a word like that, in my humble opinion, is so that if you as a Scientology were to hear open mind, you immediately have a negative reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, having an open mind in Scientology means that you are open to the idea that something other than Scientology could work, which obviously is absolute ridiculous, the very thought of that.
Yeah. I just wanted to, because Joe had accidentally timed out someone. I think I can't take back the timeout, but it's not a complete ban. So this person can.
I think timeout is for like a certain amount of time.
Yeah, 300 seconds. So
okay, that's fair.
Kate, we're sorry. You can be back in just a couple of minutes.
yeah, we'll still be around.
Yeah, I could have done that as well. So let's just move on. Okay. Sure. Where was it that we were in determinism? We went through this one.
Yeah, so we were at 86 with the open mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel anyone or anything can get better? Yes. I guess a lot of these questions are also something, if you've been in Scientology for some time before, you kind of know what's the right answer, even if you don't fully know what it means, the question itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever sat in judgment on Scientology or Scientologists? I'm not sure what that means.
I think he means that you judge somebody for having done a certain part of Scientology.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any connections to criminal organizations, either in present time or in the past? Have you in any way ever been involved in any financial irregularities of policy commissions and bonuses, theft, or any org funds, unusual financial favors, on the unauthorized expenditures, etc.? Have you any marital or familial difficulties? Do you live with anyone? Yes. With whom do you live? In EPF. So most likely the person is sharing the room with a lot of different people.
Sure.
Are you financially supported by anyone other than yourself, your org, or Sea Org? If yes, who supports you and what is this arrangement? From my parents, I am getting pocket money. So this is again the reality check. This is a kid who is getting pocket money from their parents and is now signed over by the parents to the Sea organization.
Yeah.
I just want to, say it out loud so everyone understands
Yeah, it's a reminder.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Calm down. Makes me so angry. Do you receive income other than earned by the church? Do you own a business which employs church staff? Do you have your own business outside the church? Have you completed any Scientology courses or training? I think here we have the full
list, exactly what. Yeah.
Full list. Yeah. So you can maybe dissect this one. We have the basic study manual. So this person was born in 1991. So at age of 12, they were doing the basic study manual.
Which is a very, very basic course. I think it is even designed or directed specifically for children. It's very simple. Very, where it basically tells you the very simple concepts of the misunderstood word and so on and so forth, how that works, how to study properly, basically.
Yeah. Tiers and objectives 2 years later.
Yeah.
Problems of work extension course. In 2007, why does a 16-year-old do a course called Problems of Work extension course?
Well, maybe as a preparation for joining the C organization.
Yeah.
Because he joined in 2008.
Yeah. Fundamentals of Thought extension course. Have you done this course? Are you familiar with it?
No, but it's part of the basics.
Okay.
The basic books.
Evolution of a Science extension course. Is this some kind of counter theory for the evolution we know, or?
I haven't read it, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Other, enter the name, of course, here. Enter course name, original thesis book course.
Okay. Again, one of those basic course, one of the basic book courses.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any incomplete Scientology courses or training? List exactly which courses of Scientology training are incomplete. Dianetics extension course.
Okay.
Yeah. So this person is in the middle of doing this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you received any Scientology or Dianetics processing? Does this mean auditing?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you've got Dianetics and then you've got Scientology. And in Dianetics, because in Scientology, you use the e-meter, which was invented later on. And beforehand, you had Dianetics processing, which is similar like TRs, where you sit in a chair opposite each other. And then you basically close your eyes, go back to a time where you were happy, where something happened, whatever, and then you have to go through the incident and talk about it, and you have to go through the incident again and again and again, picking up more and more details until you are happy about it, until you're cheerful about it, or whatever. And so the main difference is that on one you have an e-meter, which is this electrical pseudo machine that's supposed to read your thoughts and your minds that you have, so it reacts. So the idea is you have everything that you do, you record everything. So you record the picture, the smell, the colors, everything possible is recorded. And if you had an incident of pain or unconsciousness, there's a charge, like an electrical charge in this particular memory. And so if you're on the e-meter, where there's a very slight electrical current goes in, and you're thinking of normal memory, it just goes through, nothing happens. But if it goes through a memory where there's a little bit of a charge, it will react. The needle will react, and then the auditor knows, there's some charge, there's some a moment of pain and unconsciousness in this particular memory, and then he knows he can dissect that much more precisely. Whereas in Dianetics auditing, you don't have that. You don't have this machine. Yeah.
Okay. That's good clarification. Okay. Then we have the life repair, date completed 1999.
Life repair, 1999, 8 years old. Good gracious.
Okay, what is life repair?
I have never done the course, but it's as I understand it, it's basically a course that you do if basically your life is complete in shits and you don't know what to do.
Okay.
So life repair. But I've never done it myself. I don't know how intense it is, what it involves exactly. But I've always heard like, oh my God, like yet he or she had to do life repair. It's always like, oh wow, okay, you know.
Yeah. Purification 2001, so at 10 years old. And this is just wanted to add this. We have proof that this is happening also today. 10-year-olds also in Denmark are doing the purification rundown at 10 years old, taking a dangerous amount of vitamins, sitting hours on end in a sauna and running on a treadmill to cleanse themselves out of the toxins and other impurities in their bodies.
Yeah, and taking up to 4,000 milligrams of niacin, which is a B vitamin. And just as information, from age up to 16, the daily amount you're supposed to take is 8 milligrams. And when you're an adult, it's, I believe, 16 milligrams. So you take up to 4,000 milligrams, which is very dangerous.
Yeah. And that is apparently the one that actually is causing the reaction that is then to be considered as to be the reaction that they are expecting you to get.
Yeah,
this working, right?
You get on your skin all over. You get red patches. You become very hot, very high blood pressure, and this is an overreaction, an overdose. An overdose, and it attacks your kidneys. It attacks your liver. And you get woozy. And when I did the purification rundown, I actually fainted twice while that happened. Obviously, I was not sent to the hospital or anything like that, but that is quite normal. However, in Scientology, you learn when this happens, it's actually a good thing, because this is all the radiation that you picked up from the sun, for example, leaving your body. So all those red patches, that's where everywhere in the past you may have had a sunburn. And so that's all the radiation leaving your body, and all the drugs that you ever took, even as a child. So if you've been to the dentist, if maybe you had, for example, dessert tiramisu, where there's a little bit of alcohol in there, or you are a passive smoker, maybe parents smoked or whatever, you picked up any of that, it comes out through the sweat. So that's the idea behind that. And then here, witness writes, please note, none of this is medical advice, even from Scientology. No medical advice. It's shocking. It's true. It's no medical advice. However, what happens is, before you do the purification rundown, you get sent to a doctor to check that you're physically fit. However, usually what happens, you get sent to a doctor that is also a Scientologist, so he knows what's going on. Or you send to a doctor who isn't a Scientologist, but you do not tell him the procedure that's going to happen. You basically just go, is this person physically healthy? Yes, good, thank you, bye. You don't tell them they're going to be 5 hours at a time in a sauna at a temperature of this, that, and the other, that they will be taking all of these vitamins, all of these different oils and vinegars that you have to take, and so on and so forth. If a doctor actually knew that you have to take up to 4,000, I say always up to 4,000 because it always gets done gradually, up to the point that you get these reactions. And then when you have these reactions, let's say you at 2,800 milligrams, you get these reactions. So you take every day 2,800 until you don't have the reaction anymore. And then you take more. And then you go up. Then you take 3,000. Until you have the reaction again. So you go up, up, up. And I think the maximum is 4,000.
Yeah, and I'm familiar in Denmark, at least, they used to have a regular doctor who you did not even see face to face when they were signing this paper where they were approving the purif, but it was just like an office clerk who was getting a signature from the doctor. So you were not even seen by a physician. I want to just highlight and celebrate that Kate is back in the in the chat. Welcome. That was just a little hiccup there. So now you're back. It was only 300 seconds, so it was not that bad. Cici, who is also an ex-Scientologist, said 3 times I did purif was 500 milligrams niacin with no flush.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no flush, meaning these red patches.
Yeah, no reaction.
Yeah.
Lara said, I did life repair at 10 years old at the Intranch Cadet org. I thought I was just a bad person and a degraded, aberrated being, and I was hoping to fix it in life repair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that when you're 10 years old.
Yeah.
God.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Okay, let's move on. Objectives. Is that did we go through that already?
Well, I'm not sure if it's separate from tiers and objectives. So tiers objectives is so tiers, we've explained that already, and then objectives is another processing, a sort of auditing where you go. Now, I never actually got to that point. I did start tiers objectives, but I never got to the objectives. But I believe it's the point where you have a process where, for example, there's a blue bottle on a table, and then you go to the blue bottle, and the auditor will ask, okay, pick up the blue bottle. Thank you. What color is it? How heavy is it? And so on and so forth. And you put it back down. And then, you go to a different object, to a book or whatever. And all of these drills are basically there to bring you into present time, to bring you into the here and now, that you're not fixated onto the past, or you're fixated too far into the future and, and worry about the future. You're really just here. While doing TR. So Lara is writing, objectives are the auditing you do while using the TR drills that was just learned. Yeah.
Okay. So they go kind of hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah. You mix TRs into auditing. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yes. It's always good to have a lot of different people who are, remember different parts of the different things and have different
because thankfully I'm forgetting stuff, because I don't talk about specific things, and I don't remember the abbreviations of things sometimes. But so it's great to have so many people in the chat.
Yes, it's so nice to have everyone here. Also to just educate everyone so you can give this information forward.
Quite.
And just bear in mind all the time that this was filled for a minor. With all this information, and this is their history in Scientology to up to this date when this was filled. Then we had the Scientology drug rundown, which came after the purification. Have you started any Scientology or Dianetics processing action that is not complete? Have you had any major Scientology ethics or justice actions called on you in the past? Have you ever false reported your stats? Isn't this something that you more start to do when you are in the Sea Org, that you kind of start to false report on your stats?
Well, obviously I never false reported my stats. Thank you very much.
Of course not.
Of course not, darling. Naturally. But what you can, so false report is just basically means, because in the Sea Org, you're not allowed to have free time. Except every second Saturday, you're allowed to have half a day off. And that was in the UK, it was a Saturday. I think maybe in America, it may have been a Sunday. I'm not sure. But in the UK, it was every second Saturday, you had an opportunity to have half a day off. But you had to make sure
in Denmark, it's a Saturday.
Right. But you had to make sure that on that week where you could have half a day off, is that your statistic is upset. So you might falsify the statistic. For example, if your statistic is selling books, and then in this week you sold 10 books, but last week you sold 12 books, but actually you sold 14 books, but you only reported that you sold 12 books, for example, and then you could use those two and then add them to the other week to make it, to improve it, for example, or whatever, things like that. So that would be falsifying the statistic. Obviously, or blatantly just say, oh, I sold. Obviously that's more difficult because you can prove if you sold it or not sold it. But in other statistics, you can just blatantly say, well, that's it's up. We had more or less or something like that. That's something, it would never have occurred to me to do that. But then again, I only was the cook, so I didn't have like a huge, obviously you have a huge pressure because you have to cook the food for all the staff. But obviously the higher position you have, the more, pressure you have from above. So I could imagine there's much more of an incentive for you to falsify it,
Yeah. Have you ever entered false reports or incorrect data in your production record? So that's basically a similar question asked in a different way. Have you ever been involved in or committed out security? enter following data for each instance. And here we have a little bit more elaborated answer. So November 2007, this is around the anonymous time. I was checking Scientology in the internet and saw squirrel data. I saw different videos. I was also in communication with the anonymous via email. They wanted me to get out of Scientology, and I told them I would not, and asked them why they are doing this. Then my father told me who they were, and I stopped the communication. I also had a friend who also was checking things on the internet and told me about them. He told me the OT data, which then turned out not to be the OT data, really, when I did a PGM on this in Berlin. I don't know what PGM is.
PGM, let me see. Not sure. Chat, please help me out. PGM on this.
This person was nearly being rescued from Scientology by external influence, and unfortunately was being pulled back. So, but this shows also that, kids are going online. They are seeing things.
Yeah. So PGM is probably some sort of program processing to basically show him, oh no, what you saw on the internet, the so-called OT, that's not true. That's false. It's squirrel. That's not exactly right. They changed it and so on and so forth. It's probably something of that kind, but what it stands for exactly, I cannot recall.
Yeah. What repercussions did this have? Any handlings done on this? Not yet. I did an ethics interview, and now I need to do a full handling on it. So you can, I don't know what full handling.
Well, a full handling, meaning completely handling the situation completely and utterly. So that you have no attention on it anymore. You don't think about it anymore. You're not worried about it in any way whatsoever. So in present time, you do not have to think. You don't think about that anymore, really. And obviously, that it causes no danger to Scientology in any form.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a close call. Unfortunately, it ended up going the wrong way. But, please give exact details concerning your current life, whom you live with, whom you spend free time with or run around with, etc. What is your daily routine? What do you do with your leisure time? I'm going on a course when I'm home and was finishing my project prepared. Now I'm here and starting on the EPF. The end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what kind of thoughts you have about this.
Well, walking down memory lane, I guess.
I hope this person is out of Scientology now and out of the organization. I mean, many of people come out, and hopefully the situation is completely different than what it was at that time. But when you see an actual, a real example of the situation, and you can kind of see the person's life through the form. It's it touches in a different way than hearing these generalities that
Yeah, exactly. It's a more specific example of that.
There's 76 start comments, so let's just
okay
put some metal to the pedal. My husband looked like, okay, you've been going on for 2 hours. Are you done soon? Haggis Basher is here. So all our former second gens have the right to get these forms with a fee. What legal means can they get these?
So I spoke on that a little bit, that I think it's only relevant while you are actually in good standing with Scientology. So I would have no chance of getting it. I'm pretty sure I signed away my rights when I left this organization. And I'm sure there's a policy that says that if you blue staff or SEOG or you're suppressive person, and so on and so forth, you have no rights to these sort of things.
Yeah. Witness is saying that output format looks familiar. It's a shell-coded form, which is interesting. 2008. I don't know. It could be maybe a little bit old-fashioned for 2008, or I don't know. Perhaps. Bianca is here.
Hello,
Clearing
darling.
the planet is saving mankind. I got it in my head that it meant that we had to reach 80% in Scientology and 51% at State of Clear.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember this 51% had to be State of Clear. Yeah, I remember this sort of thing. But I've never seen it anywhere in writing. It was always sort of like floated. That's what it means to clear the planet, you know?
Yeah. Bianca is also saying the army has the motto, be all you can be. Sea Org is do more.
Do more. Yeah. Exactly. It's like great, now do more.
Yeah. Swedish Andrea is saying this is so sad. I agree. I went through all the emotions again today. I did first time when I read it as well. It's kind of it's makes you think about a lot of things.
Sure.
Yeah. The promise of doing more was always there, a carrot leading to the promised prize.
Sure.
Irish has a good point also. Do more sounds rather like setting one up for a failure. Yeah. El Sarmento is here, 50%.
Oh,
51%.
lovely seeing him.
Yes. Yeah, it's good to see you. You haven't been protesting recently. I hope I'm still subscribed to your channel. I need to go and check after this live because YouTube is funny sometimes with that. 51% is rather ambitious when at least half of humanity is considered degraded beings by them. Yeah. Mission impossible, shall we say?
Yeah. But that's never the mindset mission impossible. It's always the mission possible. It's always,
Emily is here saying pull strings where it serves them. Yeah. Exactly.
I think this was referring to when we were looking at, are you associated with these organizations?
Yes.
It was like military, government, and things like that. So they're always associated with this Scientology when it helps them.
Yeah, exactly. But that's in anything that they do. Whatever is beneficial for them, then it's it is positive. Bridge is saying PR is more important than people. Absolutely. It's we are only in our meat jackets. So never mind that. El Sarmento is also saying they were also stealing donated items for themselves. So this is regarding these vulture ministers in California. There was huge allotments where people were coming with donations, and different companies were coming with donations. And there's film documentation that the vulture ministers were packing things and taking them into their own lands.
Great.
Not too surprising. Disappointing, but not too surprising. Windy City Dayton Watch is here and saying, the appearance of doing good. That's the only function of the vulture ministers. Nothing else matters. MD Media was here giving a super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your hard work. I really appreciate you. This live would be nothing without the fabulous SB Chef. I will get you a drink when we see next time.
I'm just a pretty accessory, darling. You're the brain of the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's good that someone is bringing some beauty in the conversation. So, Witness is saying, just write it all down, everything, because we will use it against you when needed.
It's talking about confidentiality and all of that, but it all gets thrown out of the wind as soon as you are declared an SP, as soon as you blow or anything like that.
Exactly. Sinaloa Tacos. No religions is called science. Yeah, true. Let's listen to your clock.
Yes, there you go. That's good old Barbara.
A Swiss clock. It will.
Yes.
Works like a clock.
Quite. Yes.
Emily is saying they would probably want to know if you belong to any group so that the group can't influence you against the cult's will. Yes.
Exactly, yeah. Again, so you're in this echo chamber of same thoughts, same ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Tiltybird is awake and saying, yeah, they're supporting us. Thank you so much for being here. Witness, just tell me everything. Lol, Miss Gavit, still using mainframe forms. That's getting expensive. Yeah. I mean, I highly doubt that Scientology is doing huge investments in technology, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not in top of the priority list, but let's get the real estate game going. Balas is in the chat. Good to see
hello,
you.
darling.
Yeah, you've also woken up from your beauty nap, I can see. Didn't make it on time, but better late than never. Yeah. So this is regarding the fitness check. How good of a physical slave are you to them? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you be used? Tilty is saying you're only valuable if you're alive. That's my LRH edit. Yeah, I agree.
Quite.
I think it's horrible to even think that lives have been lost due to beliefs that you can just discard your body and become back in another soul. That's
I mean, I've never witnessed it, but I have heard of people being encouraged to even, drop your body because you're very old or you have a terminal illness and things like that. And so there's no point, like, why would you go on? Just drop your body. In whatever way you want to drop your body. And then, and I mean, I've also seen very disgusting things that happened in England where, so the registrar in Scientology is the one who basically gets you to buy a course or whatever, and they basically cash in the money. And there was a registrar who started this thing of going to very old Scientologists and get them to put all of the money they have on their account, so that when they die in the next few years, because they're so old, they can just come back and just keep going. So they're basically completely taking all the inheritance that would be going to their children. And they did that for a few years, and then they had to stop because of a big PR flap. And then they would do things like that because maybe the person only managed to get up to OT3, but maybe because they were so ill, they had to, maybe they have cancer, they had to go for treatment. And because of that, they became an unqualified PC, and so an illegal PC. And so therefore they couldn't keep going. So they say, okay, rather than doing the chemo treatment, stop doing it so that you drop your body faster. Give us all your money so then you can come back and you can just keep going from OT3 onwards and you already have your money.
I'm not going to comment on that. Let's just say that I have all kind of thoughts in my head right now. And
very rude thoughts, I'm sure.
Yes, very rude thoughts.
Yes.
Almost, I'm not a violent person, but maybe in my head I might have some
I
thoughts.
do get some very unladylike thoughts.
Yes,
with these things as well. Yeah.
Yes. So I'll just skip that. I will keep it in my own head, these thoughts.
Sure.
Bianca is saying they also want to know any connections with outside world so they can track you down if you blow. Yeah. So that was also what you were saying before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kevin is saying my parents sued the Church of Scientology after meeting as recruiters and having me. Kevin, if you want to share your story, not just, thinking about talking about it on live, but if you can send me an email with more information, please do that. My email is in my YouTube description. He's also saying, I also have a deposition from a subject only referred here as LB that she discovered fraud in her public service employee union rep committed by Scientologists in California state government. Wow. Yeah. We need to bring it all out there, all their dirty laundry. We want to put it on blast. You're less likely to be unconsensually hypnotized. Yeah, true.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it referred to.
So if you are not consenting, then it's more difficult to get you hypnotized. So
I see. Okay, in that sense, yeah.
Yes. Witness is saying, just these questions are getting you familiar with being questioned like this. Yes.
Sure.
Yes. You need to
And
get
as a child as well, you like being asked questions. I remember as a child, I loved being asked questions.
Yeah. So we need to turn this up turn this the other way a little bit when we're talking about children that are being treated as an adult, even though we can see all the problematic aspects of it. As a child, you feel almost like privileged because you're being asked adult questions.
Exactly.
And you're treated equal to adults.
Yeah, you've been taken seriously and so on. Yeah.
Yes. Tilty is saying, I like how they ask about journalism first. Yeah. Bianca is saying psych drugs make you illegal PC, so like antidepressants as well.
Right.
Yeah. And Tilty is saying LRH's mind is completely hyper-focused on every action being spiteful. Yeah. Just believe the worst out of everyone.
Yeah. Basically, everyone is evil, and you have to prove that you're not.
Yeah. Witness is saying they ask about journalists because of Paulette Cooper, in my opinion. The OG anti-Scientology reporting, fair game. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
it could be. Self-reported information is typically highly unreliable, especially when you're under mind control. Yeah. I would say as well, I highly doubt that anyone is pouring out every single thing on these forms of their... Emily is saying that Marit Lindstein, very famous Swedish author nowadays, an ex-Scientologist, when they got out of the hole, they were saying they were suicidal. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, because that gets you out very quickly, this sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes. Tildy is saying, please don't suffer in silence. If you're having challenging mental health thoughts, please reach out to a friend or a helpline. Yeah, I totally agree with this. Any kind of issue. I mean, this is not just related to Scientology, but whatever issues you have, it's much worse when you just keep it to yourself.
And very important as well, if you're in that mindset, you don't want to call anyone because you don't want to bother anyone. I know this. But just remember that if you had a friend who was in that situation, wouldn't you want them to call you? Would you be bothered if they call you? Would you be annoyed if they call you? Of course not. So don't think too hard about it. It's the same thing for them. They're very happy to help you.
Yes. That's a very good point. Kevin is saying Scientology discourages allowing psychologists getting addicted to their clients' money. That's why there is a reading room. And if you find Scientologists that cannot run, it's what is it called? Use. Okay.
I'm not sure.
No. I read Dianetics at 9 years old. Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to do that. Scientology is tracking your weaknesses. Nothing on here asking about what you're really good at.
Yeah.
That's a good point of view as well. You can tell an engram is activated in modern parlance. That triggered me.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So in a modern, in modern speak, so to speak, if you say, "Oh, that triggered me," it basically means an engram has been activated. Because something, pretty much, I think it is fair to say that if something triggers you, it's something from your past that gets reminded of this very unpleasant moment, and that's why it triggers it. And that's why some people get triggered about some things and other people don't get triggered by it because they don't have any association with that from their past.
Bridge has a question. Who makes the decision you are not in good standing?
Well, the church, obviously. Scientology will make the decision.
Is there a specific department or instance that is doing it?
I would assume it would be in ethics. Ethics would decide whether you're in good standing or not.
Okay. Emily is saying just the fact that person would have to tell everything about their life at this first stage already. And you're being conditioned and brainwashed from such a young age. It makes you so much more vulnerable to this type of abuse going forward as well. You have no boundaries or limits that you have learned at this point in life. You are basically taught to behave in completely the opposite way to a regular world.
Yeah, you learn to suppress your instincts. Don't listen to your instincts, because that's an animal.
Yeah.
Hubbard talks about that. These instincts that you have, these are animalistic instincts, and you need to suppress them. So if you get a bad feeling about a person, about a situation in Scientology, you learn to suppress it, because it is an instinct, and it's an old animal instinct that this meat body has inherited. Yeah.
CC is saying, I was in C organization 20 years and filled out life history regularly without the thought of invasion. I kept my master after OSA lost a few early ones. Didn't wonder about that either.
Kept my master. I'm not sure what you...
I guess that's the original, or the, one of
the master copy in that sense. Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Fluffer Squirrel is here. Conditional love, friendship, and acceptance, heartbreaking and so confusing for kids and adults alike. Yeah.
Quite right.
Yeah. Bianca is saying, also, if you grew up in Scientology, you already know that that friends only last if your stats are up. So there aren't really any to list. That's how it was for me, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I saw people as object of usefulness.
Yeah.
If this person is useful to me or to the goals of Scientology, then it's worthy of having a connection with the person. And then that was my level of friendship.
Yeah.
That was basically it.
Yeah. Elsa Mentor saying, I assume it must be difficult maintaining friendships within Scientology when everyone is writing up KRs on each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no real trust, Yeah.
Yeah. Lini has a good point. Freeloader debt is not legally enforceable, just in case you're in and watching this. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not legally enforceable. If you're leaving this staff or SEOC, but you still want to maintain in good standing with Scientology for whatever reason, then you will have to pay for it, sure. But if you say, I don't care, then you don't have to pay it. They cannot legally enforce you to do that at all.
Yeah. CC was in Sea Org in AOLA from 77 to 97, except 6 months at childcare org and 3 RPFs.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Bianca is saying, they made me word clear, open mind so many times. I kept saying I had an open mind because I thought it was a good thing, and got so mad when they say it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nisa is asking a question. Is independent Scientology just as bad, or are they gentler, or can it go either way? Well,
independent Scientology is Scientology would see them as a squirrel group. I actually have been I was not anymore, but I was in contact with somebody who was doing independent Scientology. And they basically were trying to convince me to do it as well. And basically they said it's like Scientology, but without any pressure, without any ethics handlings or anything like that. It's literally like a club. You can go or you don't go. It doesn't matter. There's no pressure, anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think after your experience, you're not really interested to tip your toes on that water.
No, because there's no evidence whatsoever that it works. I've never seen any evidence at all. So, and I even asked, and this person was apparently OT12 or OT13 or something. Because you see, when Hubbard died, he apparently, this is all we know, he never even finished all the OT levels until 15. But then there was Captain Bob or Rob or something like that. I don't remember his name exactly.
Oh yeah, the one that was supposed to take over.
I'm not sure if he was supposed to take over or he was just very up there, but apparently he stole the stuff and then he set up his own independent Scientology.
Pat Broker and Pat wasn't
and Annie Broker. Yeah, no, but it wasn't him. It was somebody else. He was just called Captain Rob, Bob, a name like that.
Okay.
And he started off this independent Scientology and so forth. And then he apparently, this person I was talking to, he did OT12 or OT13 and things like that. And then I asked him the simple question, okay, well, in OT8, you are supposed to have perfect recall of all of your past lives. Well, where were you at 3:15 on the 17th of November, 1731?
Okay,
And he just
Captain
stared at
Bill
me.
Robertson.
Captain Bill Robertson. Yeah, that's right. That's who it was. And then he just stared at me and said, okay, well, how many languages do you speak? Are you able to speak 60, 70 languages, even if some of them are dead languages? Because why would you recall your past life that you were in Mexico in German?
Yeah.
How would you recall that in German if you have perfect memory? It doesn't make any sense, right? And I asked this simple question, and he was like, he couldn't answer it. I was like, okay, well, there you go. Thank you. Bye. Yeah. So it's very clear it doesn't work. Yeah. But he still believes it works for some reason. So anyway.
Haggis Basher is telling me to breathe. I think that was because I was getting a little bit upset there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bianca is saying, I did all the Division 6 courses, including how to have a successful marriage at the age of 12.
Darling, I did the same thing. I did, well, I don't know if I did all of the courses, but I did quite a lot, but including how to have a successful marriage, as well as how to rear children. Because I was a very awkward, introverted child. And this was supposed to help me to have a better connection with my parents, to have a better connection with my siblings and with other children in the org. Because I was very very much on my own. I was very happy being on my own and not having contact with other people very much, and that was considered very weird. And so they tried to handle it, and I did every possible communication course and all of that. Nothing ever helped really.
I don't even want to know the contents of the how to have a successful marriage, but I've been doing fine without that as well. So
excellent.
Good. One gypsy is saying free to children. I agree. I totally agree with that. Bianca is saying, in the Catadorg, we treated mosquito bites and sunburn with 500 to 1,000 milligrams of niacin daily until it was gone. Yeah.
Goodness.
You got a different kind of itch, I guess, then.
Yeah.
Lara is saying, all kids from the ranch of any Catadorg went to Megan Shields or Shaw Health Center to get our checkup and approval to start Bureau, all under the age of 18. Yeah. Yes. And also saying we never went to an outside doctor that wasn't a Scientologist unless it was an emergency or fatal reason to do that. Sure. And that probably they even did after Lisa McPherson when they, brutally murdered her. They had to change this. People in the US having a moan at child labor in China when this happens right under their eyes. I agree. Yeah. Although child labor in China is also still, an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably quite a bit worse than what I personally experienced.
Yeah, and we need to be responsible consumers to try and avoid that. But,
of course.
But I can see the double standard for sure.
Yeah.
Lini is also saying in UK you can legally request under Freedom of Information Act, but those that have done it get them redacted, missing pages, etc. Right, and you can be sure that they do exist. They just don't want to give them up.
Yeah.
So I'm all for police going and doing a raid in every single Scientology organization around the world and get people's PC folders back to them. Yeah. Tildy is saying, reminds me of the Pink Floyd lyric, when at last the work is done, don't sit down, it's time to dig another one. T420 is saying, this has been a wonderful interview. I've been listening. I'm so sorry for the kids that went through this. Yeah. That's why we're here. Witness is saying, it makes me wonder about the cult modernization plans for computer systems. They seem to be running on some obsolete systems. Yeah. Right now, they have a lot of issues. I'm not sure if this is on top of the list. Although, I'm sure they're not having the latest MacBook Pros in their offices. They haven't heard of this thing called what is it called? Digitalization, where you
Digitalization,
they are even doing the metal plates in the, somewhere in a remote California that they are digging in a bunker underground. So clearly technology is not the first priority. Kate is saying, round of applause for the both of you. Thank you so much. This has been going on way longer than I expected, but
it was a much longer list and many questions and comments as well.
Yeah, but I also think this is a good conversation. This is something people can come back to, time and time after again. If there's something you want to check, or if anyone stumbles into this video in the future, then hello. I mean, this is relevant information. Nevertheless, it doesn't get old. Tilty is saying kids cannot consent. Yes, absolutely, totally agree. Lupita has given a huge super chat here. Thank you, Mirjam.
Very generous.
Yes, shining light on this type of child abuse in the cult. And SP Chef, your bravery is truly inspirational. Also, all X's in the chat. Yeah, thank you so much for participating in this conversation. There's so much information that it's good that we have some backup in the chat, given the
exactly. That's great.
El Sarmento is saying another great informative live with the amazing SP Chef and Mirjam. Thank you so much. The support is really appreciated. Witness is saying, please remember, for every one loud person you see, there are 10 listening people staying silent. The silence can be deafening. Yeah. Gypsy is saying, Denmark, keep up the good fight. Yes, indeed. Very much trying to do so. Leni is saying there's Captain Bill Robertson footage on YouTube. I think I'll need to go back to this chat and pick up that name so I can check it out later and find all about OT13. Yes, I'm doubting there's any bigger revelations than on the OT8. The name of Robinson's org is Ron's org. It's still active.
Right.
Yeah. We have a Kelly present here also. Side note, if this wasn't covered already, did Samuel see or attend any weddings or ceremonies with minors being married to adults?
No, I wasn't at any wedding. I mean, there were a couple of Sea Org couples where I didn't know their age, but they were very young. So I don't know if any of them were minor. I only attended one wedding because I made the wedding cake for the wedding, but they were already they were in their 40s or something. So
okay, yeah. Self as self is also in the house. This would make for children that are more susceptible to all sorts of ailments and stressors, all stages of life. Horrific. Yeah. Yes, I agree. It's a bit sad note to end this conversation on, but I was thinking we could after our live talk about continuing on exposing Scientology and having another chat soon.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because there is a lot of material. Unfortunately for OSA, people are not staying quiet when they leave. So it's too bad. I want to thank Samuel for joining me again today, and all the moderators and Joe for helping with the comments, and everyone in the chat that I didn't get to say hi to. There's been a lot of audience, and I think we covered a lot of different topics going through the life history form and how Scientology operates and tries to dig out all the information they can get out of people. But if there's no more questions or comments to what we just covered, then I think it's time to say goodbye for now.
If there are any more questions or comments, just put them down in the comment section, and then Mirjam and I, we can answer them. If we know the answer to them.
Yes, absolutely. And remember to subscribe to the SP Chef. I think the link will appear shortly in the chat, and then we'll just have to wait new original content from the SP Chef coming soon. Right? And other than that, I wish everyone a great rest of Sunday, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.